riding or not?
Yeah, bro, you ain't naked no more.
Come on, man.
Let's roll out. That shit away, man. Let's go. Where these niggas at anyway, man? 95s, right? But where these
But you're acting like it's something else, the big and over law. But you really need to study self. All law is our law, and I don't need nothing else. Hating on the Moors, but the reason is you hate yourself. Learn how to love instead of hate. Snitches get stitches, and I can smell the dirty miles away. The game is to play, not to get played. So you better play your cards right or get blazed. That's me, I'm a movie, I tell you in writing. If I tell you in the flesh, guarantee you won't like it. I'm fearless, I'm humble, but I strike like lightning. Intelligence heightened, others is frightened. In-house fighting, if that's love, I'm not liking. I know it's not. You never met a lie because your heart is not the purest spot. Love, truth, peace, freedom and justice. Spread love the same way I spread that mustard.
A man of peace, yet I'm ready for war. Law of nature, why be black? Melanation mean more. History, know your roots before eating the fruit. Muslim, understanding love, be noble and true. A man of peace, yet I'm ready for war. Law of nature, why be black? Melanation mean more. History, know your roots before eating the fruit. Muslim, understanding love, be noble and true.
Bring you out of darkness in a marvelous light like Drew Ali. I be with the nobles you see of meet and greet. I'm about to take you under the sea to see what the mer's made in waters with mermaids. Turn the page, that's a paper cut. I let them tape it up. Cause our nationality they tried to keep from us. Let the heater up, because it's wartime. I know you see the light when the more shine. Scimitar swinging at your neck. I know I've been taught to forgive, not forget. While y'all were playing checkers, we were all playing chess. It probably ain't safe, even if you got a vest. So you better cook correct like a spell check. I am more, nothing less. We up next and forever, searching for Gilgamesh's treasure. Word to John Bay, you know that it's whatever.
A man of peace, yet I'm ready for war. Law of nature, why be black? Melanation mean more. History, know your roots before eating the fruit. Muslim, understanding love, be noble and true. A man of peace, yet I'm ready for war. Law of nature, why be black? Melanation mean more. History, know your roots before eating the fruit. Muslim, understanding love, be noble and true.
Talking booger, my utterance is horizontal strays. Argumentative tone, penetrate like gamma rays. Come from a different follicle, I sprout a better grade. These dudes are stuck in analog, it's time to upgrade. The digital is pivotal when I get literal. Scratch off the cereal, so I can blank out. Mr. Imperial rank is out. Looking for the opposition, call that operation, clear them out. He's en route, on star embedded in my cerebellum. At my destination where we engage is where they dwelling. To the paramedic spatula, scrape them up, flip them on the stretcher, grilled cheese and guts. That's craft single tactics, my views is galactic. But I just landed so you can grasp this. Now it's back to the space station for reflection. Up here, no reception, I'm the best, no exception. When I talk, you change complexion. Yeah, my lines is heat, so when I speak, there might be Pyrex protection.
A man of peace, yet I'm ready for war. Law of nature, why be black? Melanation mean more. History, know your roots before eating the fruit. Muslim, understanding love, be noble and true.
Take notice, take focus. We can't stay colored, man. Take notice. Better be that, better be right. It's a mess for we to clean. Eyes wide open, she says while she sleeps. Looking in the book, you be counting shades. Near you is a Canis Lopez. You let it come the closest. Your throat sits focused. Didn't care about the past, didn't want to know who he is. Snake in the grass, I'm in the forward focus. I'm a weird more, take notice. At least I'm not bogus. I'm in personage. Under the sky dome is my domicile home. Take notice. My body died this year, but I'm back on this. I got work, you got church. Some good Moors are still captured. Pastor's a bastard. This unnatural disaster's past the standard. Scales tip off balance. Kidnap Moors, we're not silent. Take no rides to the Moors. camping is non-violent. Take notice. We can't stay colored. Lie. Emily Corstetter denied more bail from some trumped-up charges for probable causes. Quasi. Corrupt and set up. Take notice. Attorneys are officers of the court. That's a conflict. Folks at the Supreme Judicial Court say, for this particular instance, COVID proof, no need to keep 6 feet distant. Take notice. They got squirrels foot. The world look through this information, assuming jurisdiction on the occupation. 1478. Tribunal de Santa, Officio de la Inquisition. Ferdinand and Isabel still running with no intermission. Take notice. Your favorite rapper is a house nigga. Ninja. Be my guest, not a passenger. Be your first, not the last in ya. Finishing, says the Black Widow. Take notice. We not colored tonight. Take notice. He a snack for ya. Nature's beautiful and vicious when attacking. Build up where you're lacking. Your backbone is not backing. Black on, what is that you flapping? No such thing, just acting. True persona, they don't wanna take notice. You up, sleepwalking. We on front page, way under the profit. I'm done, saved. Say something positive. Out to nature, Cal-L. Take notice. With or without a cape, an eye laser. Take notice. Was a minor, now a major. Give thanks to the creator. Take notice. They changed the transhumanism. Boy, no it's not. When they use a tool to clip, left the slit. Chromosomes still a Y, so you're still a manish. Sexuality crisis. Take notes, I know this. Set a price on what's priceless. Corpses are lifeless. You can't stand. Cutting through the 76 with a grand slam. The base empty. Who Drew did it? Got you home and they know this, man. You didn't take notes though. Vamps got your blood in the cup, overflow. Leak, but they won't play this on the radio like overflow. With nonsense. Why you can't be yourself? Busy being everybody else. Look at the image in the mirror. Take notice. Put it all over the shelf. Take notice. Strange how they be. Strange how they be. When you fired and never retired, try to put the flames out on we. Things free, not a fee. How we gonna pay? We ain't got no S or a G. OLD. Take notice.
Here we go. Raka! North Star! That way. The North Star's that way. Canaanland Moorish. Read off pay every day. Okay. Uplift the fee cause we all pays. We enforce the law and we obey. Forefathers from before is still today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws and more rays. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules our verse. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle sevens first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. You clear 13, disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed, cause I seen the proof. No, but Drew X, do I have to draw it out for you? Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Jerry Bruce, standing on my square, even without shoes. On the highest authority, spirit of blue. Marcus Coffee, whirlwind times 2. The world's in the wind when the trumpet blew.
Stand up, go into your bathroom. If you got a big floor to ceiling, cut the light on and stand and take a good hard look at yourself. You are the Moorish government. You know, and it took me a long time to get to understand that concept. I self-law am master. If I can govern myself, if I can govern my household, that's what I should be doing. Why should I walk out of my door and then leave everything that I know about myself in the house to go out and adopt something that I have no knowledge thereof? It makes no sense. So we need to stop asking that question. I ask myself this question: if not me, then who?
Death and wisdom, my friends, intelligent creatures, guardians of sacred knowledge, Olmecan features, secrets of the afterlife, manifest the present day. Dirty Moors and scoundrels lose their heads in a pleasant way. Deceit and deception, negative past thoughts, keeps awareness on point, spirit messages never off. Inner realizations, encounter the higher selves, next plane existence, explains my consistence. Without a foe you never know, so past most resistant. Divinity, my twin flame, side chick and mistress, metaphysic, kabbalistic, almaroc mystic, patriarch, papistics, make my thoughts sadistic, so indigenous, call me Americanistic, invoking the ancestors, Saracen cryptic, suns on rotation, flows ecliptic, shatter all illusions, reveal the realistic, sitting in the dark, holding the light marvelous, recognize the artifice, skin so carbonous, hair so antenna, I feel them from Vienna, myriad of virtues, lessons, in reptilian henna, enlightenment seekers won't find it in mainstream. Focus as a laser, stay balanced like a beam. Not even a gymnast. Whenever I flip this, as above, so below, get out when within this. Don't think I'm a slave cause I speak in English. Drew Ali the water, watch your flames get extinguished. Living in your higher, lower self is relinquished. Reputation of master teachers, call it distinguished.
If you have any questions, put it in the chat. Islam to all Moors. This is a history of conversion to Islam in the United States, Volume 2. By Patrick D. Bowen. Bowen. B-O-W-A-N. E-N. B-O-W-E-N. Patrick Bowen. Chapter 5. How much principles Moors got? How much points on the star for the Moors? Noble Drew Ali is what of the Washata airship? Number what? You're number 5? Chapter 5. Having re-territorialized numerous elements of black culture and linked them in several ways with the religious market opened up by Garvey, in the second half of the 1920s, Noble Drew Ali created a movement that would, before the decade was over, gain far more Muslim converts than any previous African American Islamic organization. It seems, in fact, that it was because of his success that the MSTA was responsible for fully establishing African American Islam as a permanent and important religious component within the black community. Indeed, even after the Moorish prophet's death in 1929 and the movement's subsequent schisms, the MSTA remained the most prominent, widespread, and influential Muslim community throughout the first era, the present chapter outlines this history. This is what they know about Noble Drew Ali. This is what they put out there, and none of the, great debaters of the Moors have nothing to say to Patrick Bowen. They're not doing 3 hours on his videos, on his books, on his articles, but their own Moors, well, they're going to make it a campaign. They're going to make it a campaign for you not to know about Moors and know who the Moors are, while everybody else around you knows. Everyone else around you knows. So Patrick Bowen, in his studies, came to the realization that Noble Drew Ali created a movement that would gain far more Muslim converts than any previous African American Islamic organization. So why wouldn't you ride with him? Because all these people say that they're Muslim, the black Muslims, the Orthodox Muslims, the mystical Muslims, the whatever Muslims that they want to claim that they are. And they're in America. The gods and the earths Muslims, they're in America. A prophet came to them here in their own land, bringing them Islam that they're repping now under some bow tie BS. But they're not giving him honors when he's the foundation, and everybody knows this. Everybody knows Noble Drew Ali is the foundation of Islam in America for the Negro, black, color, whoever, whatever else they call themselves, those people. He's their prophet. Came to save them. Which is why anybody who knows that they're more, they better be active with this, because this is not about some passivity. This is not about you know that you're more and you're not doing anything for the Moors. If you know you're more, you better be doing something. Name it. You don't care. You got Eller Bay? Okay, show and prove. Or you're just out here to see what you could get from the Moorish or whatever. And if you're about that, then, this is not really where you're supposed to be at. Because this is not some group stuff. This is not something where, the grand whoever is going to be the one that's going to hold your hand through the tulips while you learn about the... No, that ain't going on. Like, the boat has left the dock. You better know how to swim right now. You better know how to swim. And it's the Aquarian age. And you had people tell you that the flood was coming already. Now you're looking for water. You're looking, where's the water? Oh, there's no water, no flood. The water is knowledge. And you're getting flooded right now with knowledge. Anywhere you turn, whatever your frequency is, forget the phone analytics, right? Let's go with the tapped into the Akashic records and stuff like that. That in your traveling on the earth plane, if your frequency is, holistic health, you'll be bumping into so much holistic health stuff that you make your head spin. Because you're on the frequency. Saying I'm a Moor is about being on a frequency. It's not about you see some pictures of some people standing in front of a building and that means Moors. It's about vibrating on a certain frequency. And to jumpstart it, love is the first thing. Learning to love instead of hate. Learn to love instead of hate. Even dirty Moors we love. That's why we give them honors. At least they know that they're Moors, even though they're dirty. At least they know that they're Moors. They're LB. They got nationality card. You know what I mean? Like, even the traders know. But it's about vibration. And the only way that you're going to tap into the right vibration is if you realize that the foundation of our spiritual whatever is Islam. And Islam is I, self, law, and master, and that's ancient. That's not some nation of gods and earth stuff. I, self, law, and master is the eye of Heru and the pineal. I, self, law, and master is crown chakra. I, self, law, and master is know thyself. I, self, law, and master is governing self. So until you realize that you're the government and you have to govern yourself first, you're not going to have a Moorish government. Till you realize for yourself how is a Moor gonna right to travel? Don't worry about getting in cars and all that stuff with no license and whatever. Right? It's about frequency. And it's a big game to stray you away from Noble Drew Ali. That's a theme. That people are going to mention Moors and sovereignty and whatever like that, but they never mention Noble Drew Ali ever. But they're telling you about trust and sovereign, this and that. They do a whole lecture, 3 hours, never mention Noble Drew Ali once. Never have a 10-minute segment to talk about him. And they go into all this other stuff to try to get you to buy their class and support their whatever. That's doing nothing for you. We're not talking about the ones who you buy their class and it does something for you. We're talking about the ones that just the other day getting calls. Getting calls because people are engaging. Right now, check what's going on. People are engaging dirty Moors. Right? Meet them, go to their class, go to their online thing. Well, you know what I mean? 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 8 months. And then they get some paper and they pay something and then they have this paper, they don't know what to do with it because these people just gave it to them with no anything. Don't look at it as the dirty Moor. Look at it as that individual wasn't on the right frequency. Because if you're on the right frequency, you would have connected with Grand Sheik Kudro from the jump. You don't have to go ring around the rosies over there to get played by 50,000 people. And then finally, after you get played and spend all your finance, now you're coming to me to give you free stuff. And mad at me because, you know what I mean? Like, what's up? Why you late? Told you the stuff leaving at 8 p.m. At 10 p.m. you're showing up trying to go somewhere. Daniel 7. Where's the book? What book? Where's what book? And you might be new here. ask your questions in all caps so it doesn't get lost in the chat. That's our rules here. Yeah, I don't know what book you're talking about. That wasn't too specific. That was very vague. Where's the book? I don't know. You tell me. Noble Drew Ali era, 1925 to 1929. Oral tradition tells us that it was in the year 1925 that Noble Drew Ali appeared in Chicago, a city that hosted the Ahmadiyya headquarters, as well as probably several thousand Garveyites. While standing atop crates in alleyways, and according to some accounts, selling ice and coal, Drew Ali preached to passerbys about his mystical powers and about Black Americans' true religion, what he referred to as their real old-time religion, Islam. African Americans, he said, were not Negro, Black, or colored, that they were Moors, descendants of the biblical Moabites and Canaanites and members of the El and Bay tribes. Moreover, he claimed their suffering in the U.S. was not simply due to their enslavement, but instead was primarily the result of not knowing the truth of their origins. Where's the book? First World Order. First World Order, Dr. Alim El Bey. DrAlimElBey.com. Or Dr. Alim El Bey at Instagram, DM him. Yeah, but that's where the book is. If you want to get the book, that's where it's at. Dr. Alim El Bey. He claimed their suffering in the U.S. was not simply due to their enslavement, but instead, right? But instead, meaning discard that BS that you heard about enslavement. And the real reason why our people suffer is because they don't know the truth of their origins. That's why they suffer. Right. That's why they suffer. Their suffering in the U.S. was not simply due to their enslavement. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali had therefore come to Chicago to uplift the Moorish Americans by reminding them of this truth, or as he termed it, this science. Right? The science. Moorish Truth Temple. Temple of Truth. And there was principles or something like that. Truth is one of the principles. Oh, interesting. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali had therefore come to Chicago to uplift the Moorish Americans by reminding them of this truth, or as he termed it, this science, by reminding them. He didn't give you anything. Moses didn't bring something for you, and now he gave it to you. He awakened something in you. Going back again to the frequency, and what are you really on this for? Are you saying you're a Moor because you called it? Or are you saying a Moor because it called you? Because it calling you, Moor science calling you, is a whole different thing than you going looking for it. Again, because of frequency. And it calling you is a higher frequency than you finding it. You stumbling into it. You bumping into it. You know you were looking for that. And when they say Drew Ali is a mastermind, and then he told the Moors, everything I say is spirit. So Moors better heed to what's said, because it's not me saying it, so keep playing around. Going back again to why the suffering's happening. Because if they knew about the Prophet, they would have the lessons. And if they had the lessons, they would have knew that this stuff is no joke and, did what they're supposed to do. Right? So being that we're here now, we have to be the ones to recognize that, damn, Drew Ali actually was the man, and start implementing what he said. If he's the man. That's why we rep everything, but, Moorish Science Temple is on the building. It's about that and him. We build with all different types of Moors and all different types of organizations, associations, societies. There's unity amongst Moors. We know there's unity amongst Moors. Just look in the chat. Half these Moors, 3/4 of these Moors aren't from the same jurisdiction. And we're talking, Moors who know that they're Moors. Right? Not having a physical temple where they're at, still know that they're Moors. Not having Moors where they're at, still know that they're a Moor. Get kidnapped, whatever, still saying that they're a Moor. In there, saying they're Moors. And to have that courage to stand for the truth is what saying you're a Moor is. Die hard riding with Drew Ali. We're going to bring everything to the ground for him to stand up, for him to be acknowledged. Because only when we do our own research as Moors, we found all these different people who they start writing about Noble Drew Ali. You're like, hold on a second, how are you writing about Noble Drew Ali's tea and all that stuff like that? We can't even get that. We can't even go to a store and pick up Drew Ali's tea off the shelf like you could pick up anything else out there. Which, if it's a Moorish manufacturing company, that's what you should be doing. It shouldn't be I should be able to go to any spot that where they sell herbs and all that stuff. Just like they got John's toothpaste and Neem toothpaste and all these different stuff. They got Drew Ali stuff in there. Why wouldn't it be like that? Unless Moors played games with the birthright. So now you got to know the more, who knows the more, who knows the more, who knows the more to get Drew Ali's stuff. People took it inside. When this is a hedges and the highways. This is not a stairwells and basements. This is a hedges and highways. This is why the call is for active Moors, not passive Moors. Because passive Moors know that they're Moors, but they're not doing nothing. Just a pylon. You know what I mean? Somebody might go around you, somebody might run you over, and nothing. Just a pylon. You know. You're supposed to be active in this. Active is going to be based on, like we're talking about, whether you came to this or whether it called you. So if this called you, then you already know what you're supposed to do. It's not even anything to think about. If you bumped into this, then, you know, if you bumped into it from the claim property stuff, you might be out of circulation in a year because you got kidnapped. If you came in from the right to travel perspective, you might be the one individual where you're at with cardboard plates and all that stuff and never get stopped ever. If you come in from, I got court tomorrow, so which paper am I going to use? You might download a paper, go in there and, you know, they bring you in the back and show you the vault and say, hey, take what you want right now. So this is not something where you know how it's going to go. Because that's why Drew Ali said, get a good European education and I can use you. So just like the ancestors and the spirits and all that, that if you're vibrating on the right frequency with regard to this, they're going to use you. They're going to use you to show you that you're on the right path and this is where you're supposed to be going. Which should eventually get you to the point when you realize that, oh, damn, I actually didn't bump into this. This called me. And I was all in my ego thinking that, you know what I mean, I'm the man and I could do a reincarnated Noble Drew Ali and start up some Moorish whatever for... Nah. Just get with the Prophet. That's all you got to do. Right. By October, Drew Ali had amassed a small following, which he had organized that month in what was called at the time the Moorish Temple of Science. Drew Ali's group does not appear to have been able to attain instant mass popularity, as it did not even incorporate until late 1926. But in 1927, around the time the Ahmadiyya movement was beginning to reach its 1920s nadir, and Garvey's imprisonment had begun leading the UNIA losing cohesion, Moorish temples started being organized in numerous cities east of the Mississippi River. By the spring of 1929, when the group was known as the Moorish Science Temple of America, over a dozen branches could be found in black communities from Milwaukee and Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the group's most northwestern and southwestern points, to Richmond, Virginia, and Newark, its eastern limits. Evidence suggests that around 7,000 people had joined the movement by the late 1928, making it almost 5 times larger than the Ahmadiyya movement at its peak, and therefore the largest African American Muslim organization that have existed at the time. And then take into context as well, Anur Majid's book, We Are All Moors, that says Fard Muhammad got 120,000 members for the Temple of Islam after Noble Drew Ali transition. And this reference point is saying 7,000. So you can average. That's the discrepancy. You can see why they don't want you to know about this. Because if everybody was down with it, to the point where there was Moorish Zionist Jews that were around before Moorish Science Temple. And they were saying that they were Moors and they were Hebrews. So if everybody really knows our suffering is due to us not adhering to the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we have little information about the precise mechanisms behind the MSTA's success, but it is likely to have been the product of several different factors, the most important of which was probably, like Garvey's movement, the recruitment of pre-existing social networks. Besides the recruitment of individuals who had already been followers of Drew Ali since his days as the healer, Professor Thomas Drew, there is a strong likelihood that family networks were also very important. Now here's a key again for you, because they don't tell you about Noble Drew Ali, so we'll let you know. Before Dr. Sebi alkaline food list and all that stuff, Drew Ali was the healer. He was the man. Which is why there was a Moorish manufacturing company. Still is a Moorish manufacturing company that makes Noble Drew Ali's herbs that were for the healing of the nation. (1920s), remember. Professor Thomas Drew. You guys look up Professor Drew and the stuff was gonna come up. So you can know that it's a real thing. We know, for example, of one early Moor, Isaac Cook Bay, bringing in his brother, George Cook Bay. And then after both of them were made leaders in the movement, the brothers established a temple in Baltimore by recruiting a local family. But Drew Ali's message undoubtedly appealed to people involved in other social networks as well, including Garveyites, who were already attracted to this kind of uplift message and had been exposed to the UNIA's Moorish Islamophilia. In fact, Isaac Cook Bay, who was apparently responsible for organizing temples not only in Baltimore but also in Newark and Philadelphia and Washington, told potential Moors that he was personally acquainted with Garvey and explicitly promoted Garveyism while attempting to develop his temples. The movement probably also appealed to the Ahmadis, who, besides frequently being Garveyites themselves, may have been initially attracted to Drew Ali's claims that were similar to their own teachings and beliefs, that their forefathers were Arabic-speaking black Muslims, that Jesus had traveled to India, and that Islam was prophesied as the next religious stage for the black Christians. Indeed, it is extremely likely that the MSTA was drawing in former Ahmadis who had left the movement out of protest due to its accepting of whites. Drew Ali reportedly attended at least one Ahmadi meeting in Chicago, and it may have been there where he first attracted local followers. Drew Ali was the man. Everybody was down with what he was doing. Which is why in the oral statements talks about the Moors talking about, yeah, we sat there and we saw Turks and Chinese and Japanese and all these different people joining the temple. That's how you know he can make certain statements. Every knee shall bow to Islam and all this when he's making certain statements. That it wasn't something that was, projected thought. It was happening around him as he's talking about it. The world revolving around the Moorish paradigm again. Like when they talk about the Renaissance, the over here Renaissance, and the blues and the brothers were the... What do you think that was? All this stuff going on at the same time. Indeed, it is extremely likely that the MSTA was drawing in former Ahmadis who had left the movement out of protest due to its accepting of whites. Drew Ali reportedly attended at least one Ahmadiyya meeting in Chicago, and it had been there where he had first attracted local followers. The Prophet may have also drawn in individuals who had been involved with the various Black Hebrew or New Thought influenced African American groups, all of which had elements close enough to Drew Ali's teachings that making a transition from one to the other would have been relatively easy. Chicago was not only home to multiple Black Hebrew organizations in the 1920s, it was also there that Fred Stark reportedly ran the original Aquarian School of Higher Thought and Church of Divine Science, whose followers would have been intrigued by the Moorish leaders' unique use of the Aquarian gospel. Put that one out again. Chicago was not only home to multiple Black Hebrew organizations in the 1920s, it was also where Fred Stark reportedly ran the original Aquarian School of Higher Thought and Church of Divine Science, whose followers would have been intrigued by the Moorish leaders' unique use of the Aquarian gospel. So hold on a second. So there's conscious niggers making claims that Noble Drew Ali is a plagiarist and he stole the Aquarian gospel or whatever. Not trying to slander him for using that literature. But then The Aquarian School of Higher Thought and Church of Divine Science were students of the Aquarian Gospel in 1920s Chicago. And the fact that Noble Drew Ali used the Aquarian Gospel in divinely preparing the Holy Quran for the Moors, these Aquarian School of Higher Thought and Church of Divine Science people might be interested in the Moorish movement. And we're not going to ride with that Drew Ali must be the man. That's why it says when you do the research and you hear what other people have found in their research, you see why Noble Drew Ali made the statement that he stopped up every rat hole. That there's gonna be no escape for them. For doing what? For not putting out what they're supposed to. For not doing their job as Moors. And have everything messed up right now. Because everybody else was down with the program. Some followers, on the other hand, had not yet experienced or had not yet experimented with non-Christian groups, but were unhappy with the Christianity to which they had been exposed as children. And such as Hajj Hamdi Bey also had an inclination for mysticism. Let's check that footnote right there. Hanley Bay. James P. Mays, The Muslims of African Descent in America, A Concise History from Africa to 1977. James P. Hayes, Muslims of African Descent in America. Because that's a good one. Hajj Hamdi Bey. Others undoubtedly saw Drew Ali as an especially wise healer, Freemason, conjure doctor, uplift preacher, and carrier of the folk tradition. Indeed, Drew Ali had skillfully incorporated so many elements into his teachings that he had the ability to appeal to a wide variety of African American subcultures and religious markets simultaneously. God is the man. Right? Check why they don't want you to know about him. He is the uniting of Asia. He is the uniting of all the Asiatics on the planet. He is the uniting of them. The teachings that he presented are the salvation for all nations of the world, not just these Negroes in America who don't know their self. Still, for many individuals, the primary attraction was probably not doctrinal, but the more practical aspects of the MSTA. The group apparently offered, like most black Masonic orders and many churches, burial benefits and help when members became sick, all of which was augmented by the healing powers and medicines that Drew Ali promoted. In addition, like the Garvey movement, the MSTA operated a number of small businesses that provided both employment and personal profit. The Chicago headquarters had a Moorish cafeteria, a Moorish grocery and delicacy, a moving and hauling company called the Moorish Express, a Moorish guide newspaper that ran advertisements for local businesses, a Moorish manufacturing corporation that produced Drew Ali's various tonics and herbs, which were advertised in the MSTA newspapers and were sold by Moorish promoters when they traveled out of state. Drew Ali wasn't playing games like these Moors today. Huh? By mid-1928, other temples had started additional enterprises. The Pittsburgh group had a laundry, barbershop, and grocery, and the Detroit temple, the second largest, owned several businesses, including 2 combination grocery stores, a meat market, a laundry, and a printing press. Fostering businesses in the black community was in fact strongly encouraged by Noble Drew Ali and his Moorish guide. In his August 1928 historical message to America, Drew Ali proclaimed, "We must promote economic security. No other thing is more needed among us at this time than greater economic power, better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and bigger increases will follow our economic security. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. A beggar nation cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain a genuine enjoyment of the spiritualities of life. Our men, women, and children should be taught to believe in the capacity of our group to succeed in business, in spite of trials and failures of some of them. Trials and failures in business are by no means confined to any particular group of people. Some business ventures of all people fail. We have many men and women among our people who are qualified both in training and experience, and who are shining lights in the business world of all people. It is a sad weakness in us as a people that we have withheld the very encouragement, support, and patronage that would have made some of our worthy business ventures a grand success, and worst of all, having joined in the condemnation of them when they failed. Except in cases of actual dishonesty, discourtesy, lack of service, and actual unreliability, our business enterprises in every field of endeavor should have fullest confidence, cooperation, and patronage whenever and wherever they can be given. The problems of life are largely social and economic." So man drops all that. You think you're not going to go join the temple? Remember, 1920s. And then what you have to do is just transfer Moorish Science Temple of America to Moorish Nation today. And anything that is Moorish is part of the nation. And it's whether they're doing good for the nation or doing good for their selfish self. And that's how you distinguish. A History of Conversion to Islam in the United States, Volume 2, Patrick Bowen. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all. Honors to all the mothers. Supreme honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Over here we still got a couple of days in the tomb. So make sure you smooth out the corners and all that. Because it's about to be on. And don't forget, January 8th, 2022, Noble Drew Ali Day, 12th annual Canaanland Moors. PayPal CanaanlandGuide@gmail.com. 25 notes, get your spot for the online lecture series. It's gonna be a jam-packed 5 hours. So bring your thinking caps. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love. Islam.
Moorish science, the science is a reference to knowledge, means knowledge through the eyes of the Moors, or from a Moorish perspective. What that means then, it's requiring us to find out what that is, right? It's in begging the question, what is this?
Melanin rising, Kundalini climbing, up my Jacob's ladder, break my ego down to matter, cause it really doesn't matter on the solar plane, high in my domain, but it's more like my state. Go! Reppin' the holy prophet, but don't forget CMB, Zodiac Constitution, that's in my DNA, Canaanite Mo by bloodline, that's in my DNA, 5-point star with the red flag, on the green like the PGAs, no, 14th Amendment citizen, nationality is imminent, the man with his third eye open is the king, land of the blind land, before time landed, divine campus, divine universal mind, beyond universal time, this long lineage of mine, define universal time, I'm metaphysically inclined, try squaring up your conduct, and circle all your desires, if Spain was really Andalusia, how did we invade Spain? They invaded Andalusia, now everybody call it Spain, that's de facto standards, replace that title with the surname, but that ain't your name, cause that's from England, this is Merlin, when we was ruling all the waters, making pirate moves, who had it longer from 700 to 1492 than us. Melanin rising, Kundalini climbing, up my Jacob's ladder, break my ego down to matter, cause it really doesn't matter on the solar plane, high in my domain, but it's more like my state. Go! Asia, major,
Rapping tales from
Asia, major,
Mexico and back,
Asia, major,
call it turning tide,
Asia, major.
this is certified.
Major, I am the league, hard to crown, ball not base. When I'm playing, not playing. Standing in your face, fez a turban on. You say Moors are gone, niggas tripping. Won't unify for our nation, but booze and fried chicken. Astrology is Satanism, but every year you candle blow. Shooting targets, not moving highwaymen you can't handle though. Always debating Moors, but won't debate Khalid or Dr. Ben. Today you diss my prophet, tomorrow you're begging friends to get vaccine exemption forms for COVID or Corona. Falling for orchidox, adrenochromis for melanin donors, unconscious of powers. Read Richard King and Bruce Bynum. Our people lost in the sauce, stay stirring and can't find them, even with a strainer or using my hands in a container. Choosing higher over lower self should be a no-brainer. Claiming to know thyself, to know man's value. You can't be passive or stagnant, you must earth or celestial travel.
Melanin rising, Kundalini climbing, up my Jacob's ladder, break my ego down to matter, cause it really doesn't matter on the solar plane, high in my domain, but it's more like my state. Go! Asia, major,
Rapping tales from
Asia, major.
Mexico and back.
Asia, major.
Scarlet turning tide.
Asia, major.
This is certified. What is this Moorish nationality? In the context of Noble Drew Ali, Timothy Noble Drew Ali was to be, as he stated, a divine and national movement.
This that new batch.
Telling me shit through numbers though. I don't like counting, man. Back to the counting stuff, ancestors, man. Pro bono, publico, pro facto, pro indefenso. We that two things tramp on top of B-Mac. Sounds like an E-flat, quattro, doors, ablaze with my circle. Involve my C ergo, leans back, but not that high. I'm a B, but I'm not that fly. Bugging you, I'm not that kind. Look like a mean mug, what did I do? Try to relax, let your feet hover, fall off your path at the least suck ya. I didn't mean that, you said you needed intensive care. I got the weed pack, cocked 10 bags of your head. You said you need that, with the tail, I brought the whole steed. Giddy up, wasn't funny, what you call money, bring the green back, but greed is always left intact. Papa, pro bono, et malo, pro indefenso, pro falso.
Pro bono, progress need no promo. Brainwashed by TV programs, no, proclaim lower self, project higher than rockets. Profound like fork thongs in sockets. Protection lacking, project in a direction away from blacking or be lacking. In a zombie procession, most profession keep you from progressing, denying due processing. Prosecutor wants no impropria persona in full life for obia. Prodigal son, nautical, astronomical one. All pro, never implausible, cause probable. Proactive, not passive, mind's captive. Problem, children angry and hyperactive. Needs more probiotic. Pro-black is pro-death, I'm pro-seeds and process. Pro-democracy, Moors keep me perplexed. Not hearing innocence, Kirkman Bay's Moors profess. Seating no Moors in the back with no protest. Spiritual work is in progress.
Speaking pro is best, a point I emphasize, no stress. Meaning attend to what is or is to be, what's not less. Communications and testing verbally, I express my progress and high probability for profit we opt to get. Opportunities that set our plots in check. To apply the domino effect, a story connects. More important.
This that new batch.
Telling me shit through numbers though. I don't like counting, man. Back to the counting stuff, ancestors, man. Pro bono, publico, pro facto, pro indefenso. We that two things tramp on top of B-Mac. Sounds like an E-flat, quattro, doors, ablaze with my circle. Involve my C ergo, leans back, but not that high. I'm a B, but I'm not that fly. Bugging you, I'm not that kind. Look like a mean mug, what did I do? Try to relax, let your feet hover, fall off your path at the least suck ya. I didn't mean that, you said you needed intensive care. I got the weed pack, cocked 10 bags of your head. You said you need that, with the tail, I brought the whole steed. Giddy up, wasn't funny, what you call money, bring the green back, but greed is always left intact. Papa, pro bono, et malo, pro indefenso, pro falso.
Pro bono, progress need no promo. Brainwashed by TV programs, no, proclaim lower self, project higher than rockets. Profound like fork thongs in sockets. Protection lacking, project in a direction away from blacking or be lacking. In a zombie procession, most profession keep you from progressing, denying due processing. Prosecutor wants no impropria persona in full life for obia. Prodigal son, nautical, astronomical one. All pro, never implausible, cause probable. Proactive, not passive, mind's captive. Problem, children angry and hyperactive. Needs more probiotic. Pro-black is pro-death, I'm pro-seeds and process. Pro-democracy, Moors keep me perplexed. Not hearing innocence, Kirkman Bay's Moors profess. Seating no Moors in the back with no protest. Spiritual work is in progress.
Speaking pro is best, a point I emphasize, no stress. Meaning attend to what is or is to be what's not less. Communications and tests and verbally I express my progress and high probability for profit we opt to get. Opportunities that set our plots in check. To apply the domino effect, a story connects. More important than the past project, hence we document to step correct when we reflect. Plus self-inspect to detect what's real and focus on growth. This is what it is and we do's the theme of this verse, so take note. I proactively promote the quotes that I wrote when enlightened. Stimulating my state to be one more great from inciting. Affirmations that heighten implementation and writing. Healthy reminders inciting the calm and minded to fighting. Or more like a dance, the mental train. Know what I'm saying? Like Coach Nim said, it's often the weak that complain.
Pro bono, publico, pro facto, pro indefensio.
Pro bono, progress need no promo. Brainwashed by TV programs, no.
Speaking pro is best, my progress project. I proactively promote the quotes that I wrote.
Tell everyone about Drew Ali. 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 Tell everyone. Let the world know Drew Ali came. Brought a flag, religion, and free national name. Brought an ID card, don't flash at the hybrid. Learn about the righteous and when we were the pirates. Ancestral creed, clandestine heed. Warnings of the prophet, they can't intercede. Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite brethren needing new homes to Atlantis direction. North, south, and central, flag continental. Founder and uniting of the Moorish holy temple of. Tell everyone about Drew Ali. 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 Tell everyone. Let the world know Drew Ali came. Brought a flag, religion, and free national name. Brought an ID card, don't flash at the hybrid. Learn about the righteous and when we were the pirates. Ancestral creed, clandestine heed. Warnings of the prophet, they can't intercede. Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite brethren needing new homes to Atlantis direction. North, south, and central, flag continental. Founder and uniting of the Moorish holy temple of science. Nationality is alliance, always in defiance of their wardship compliance. Active, not passive, estate is massive. Use the compass, draw circles around your passions. Carpenter's tool in the mind workshop. Corsica bandana, covered eyes in bird box. Return to ancestors' mind, descendants of ancients. Forget the mundane, knowledge attainments. Guided by the principles, our own laws and customs. If they teach but don't bring up Drew Ali, don't trust them. Tell everyone about Drew Ali. 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 Tell everyone. Tell everyone about Drew Ali. 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 Tell everyone.
I told a Filipino woman about Drew Ali. We got more into the pedigree. She said she more. I said that meant more to me. Couldn't have this conversation a few years back when I was a few years black. 2,000 years I cried in tears, but I'm back. Still here, thought manifested from a higher tier. I appear, spirit and flesh with divine warnings. Choose life or death. I heard my mother utter to the Negro, black or color, African American, and that's another. Moors, be yourself, no other. You're the last puzzle in place, now move others. Hatred, slander, lewdness, murders. The pleasure of the lower, rich in promise, so you can prevent effects from causes. Sow a seed planted, sow a seed groweth. Deep in the soil, with love, truth, peace, freedom and justice. Born on a Friday, I put that on Venus. Created fate, Allah used a genius. You sent your last prophet to uplift me, so I gotta tell everybody. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone. Tell everyone about Drew Ali, 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 tell everyone.
That the NAACP could be more powerful than it is if it didn't depend on outside forces to give money. So when you were talking today about economics and how we have to sacrifice, nobody gives the nation nothing but our people. I'm free to go anywhere in the world because I'm supported by the Nation of Islam. Yeah. I have helped every black organization that has ever asked me for money, asked me for help. I've sent others all over the world to conferences. I've helped other organizations that were dying with some of the money that these believers that were on this program today give to me. Because I don't see the nation as this little group of people. We are the nation. And the only thing that we are missing is the unity of the whole of us, for all of us, and as a catalyst for the whole black nation all over the earth to rise when we rise.
So it's been 1930 when this started up. And they've risen. They got finance from people. They're getting government finance. They go anywhere in the world. They can do this, they can do that. They can make relations with other people who are, prominent where they're from and all that. But you're still a dumb nigger. You're still mortgaging and renting. How come you haven't made it yet? How come all these black leaders talking about the black nation, talking about the black nation of all the black people and all that, how come they never made you look up unity in a law dictionary so you could have an idea of what it is you're supposed to be doing? But they're not going to get a white man dictionary, right? Because it's a white man's dictionary and all that stuff. So we can't go to that for the definition. But we're going to use words. We're going to use words, but we don't care what the definition is. The definition is what we think it is. So our people never looked up unity. And again, we're doing this for people who are on the fence and ready to jump off the fence because your crotch is hurting and you want to get on the right side of things. Doing this for the two of you that want to get off the fence. We're talking about the people who, they say black and then they correct themselves. Oh, I didn't mean black. I meant Asiatic. Could I say Moorish? I'm not a Moor, but I don't want to say more out of context and all that stuff. You're talking to them. Because we know that your crotch is hurting. But you don't know how to get off the fence. We're going to show you slowly. Because he mentioned the unity of all the black people. So the black people should know what unity is before they start charging in that direction over the precipice. What is unity? In the law of estates, the peculiar characteristic of an estate held by several in joint tenancy, and which is fourfold: unity of interest, unity of title, unity of time, unity of possession. In other words, joint tenants having one and the same interests, accruing by one and the same conveyance, commencing at one and the same time, and held by one and the same undivided possession. That's what unity means. Anybody else telling you about unity and they're not talking about this, they're not about unity, they're lying to you. Period. Because this is what unity means in law. Because any type of remedy that you're seeking is going to be through law. So we're not talking about any other definitions but law definitions. But this is why people don't want to deal with Moors. Because the law language is older than the language of words. And then the mind language, that's a whole different level of language. But we'll stop at the law language. So unity at law. Unity at law is in the law of estates. Then what's an estate? Well, you have to check to see what that is. Because when you put it all together, you realize why you have nothing. And why our people always pass their generational stuff down to the church, or they die and state gets it anyways. Because you weren't connected to an estate. You were connected to a state or a province or a city or some type of fictional jurisdiction that you didn't know was fictional because they said state and you thought that's what it is, but you didn't look up estate to know exactly what it is. So what is estate? The interest in which anyone has in lands or in any other subject of property. And then when you look up in the English dictionary, not a law dictionary, you go in the English dictionary, you're going to look up more, and more means land, among other things. But we'll stop at land for now. We don't want to go too deep. So if more means land, and an estate is the interest which one has in lands, and unity is the peculiar characteristic of an estate held by several in joint tenancy, you can see what a nation is. And you can come to the realization that there's absolutely no way that these people should be talking about black unity, black nation. There's absolutely no way they should be talking like that. Why? That's why they shouldn't be talking like that.
The Spanish word negro, which means black in Spanish. You go to the dictionary and you see, oh yeah, negro, yeah, it means black in Spanish. We Negroes. But that's a half truth. The word negro in Spanish, right, it comes from the Spanish. Y'all got that? And it does mean black, but it only refers to something that is dead. So it means black, but it's only used to refer to inanimate objects. Black car, black shoes, black shirt, black pants. Y'all.
So that means that they know you're not black. So why would they tell you that you're a black nation? Why would they tell you you're a black nation? Why would they lie to you? Or are they calling your bluff because they know you're a dumb nigger and you don't read dictionaries? Because You can't say they never told you, no matter what they say now. No matter what they say now, you can't say they never told you. Guess what they told you? Same thing Moore's been telling you for 100 years before these people. That you're not Negro, black, colored. And you're not going to ride with that. But you're going to go give these people 4 million and 20 million and whatever else you're giving them. When they're calling you Negro? No, black doesn't mean... Yeah. Black comes from Negro. Black has nothing to do with people until you say Negro. And then when you say Negro, it's referring to property. Remember? Estate, the interests which one has in lands and or in any other subject property. That's how they got you to convert your estate. So they have assumed jurisdiction. Because you're not sure. You think you're black. And then the leaders are telling you that you're black. And then you're not saying anything about it. So everybody's going with the fact that you're black. But if you're black, you're property. And if you're black, you're Negro. And if you're Negro, you're an inanimate object. AKA property. Now it's interesting that they're also not going to bring up that a certain individual by the name of Noble Drew Ali put some things on the record before these people who are telling you about black nations. Now, let's look at this. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifest, of protoplast, of mineral, of plant, of beast, but he gave up his birthrights just to gratify his lower self. But man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Now, the lost estate is what these people call the wilderness of North America. It's not a wilderness. They're saying that assuming jurisdiction, which is giving colonists jurisdiction to assume jurisdiction, because these people are Moors. They come from Moorish Science Temple. Everybody knows this. Everyone knows this, that they came out of Moorish Science Temple of America. So why didn't they just keep doing Moorish Science Temple of America unless they were against what the point was? Man regaining his lost estate. But they can regain the lost estate. They got their Muslim name, don't they? And then year X. Forever. 5 million X. These people telling you about black nations when they really mean Negro. Oh, you don't? Oh, okay, let's just go back. Let's go back.
Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quickies. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try? Here's a question. Why do some of our people jump over the word Negro? What do I mean? Well, they will say that all these different words mean black, except for Negro, when Negro is the Portuguese/Spanish adjective meaning black. The Portuguese made Negro into a noun in the 1500s, meaning a black object, and placed that label on us after we fell in Spain. Even Dr. John Henrik Clarke said it.
Negro is not a nationality. Some lazy Portuguese or Spaniard took an adjective and made a noun out of it. Some lazy Portuguese or Spaniard took an adjective and made a noun out of it. Some lazy Portuguese or Spaniard took an adjective and made a noun out of it.
An object is not alive, and that is why Minister Farrakhan said,
Most of you Negroes I'm not insulting you, I'm just saying you're dead. That's what Negro and nigger means.
so why do some of our so-called leaders and scholars say that Tom Mary means black, and Kush means black, and Kabbalah means black, and Moor means black, and Kemet means black, and Heru means black, and Asar means Lord of the Perfect Black, etc., and they will call themselves black people, and some of the other names I've mentioned, yet they will not call themselves Negro, or they will say death to the Negro, when Negro is Portuguese/Spanish for black. So I tell you what, let's do a swap. Let's swap black for Negro, being that they are a literal translation of each other. So Tom Mary means Negro, and Kush means Negro, and Kabbalah means Negro, and Kemet means Negro, and Heru means Negro, and Asar means Lord of the Perfect Negro. Sounds messed up, doesn't it? So let's be real. Every time you say you are black, you are saying you are Negro. Because if Kem is a translation for black, and you identify yourself with Kem, Negro is a translation for black also. So, you cannot jump over Negro. And for those who like to say that Moor means black, we will address that statement in the next Common Sense Quickies. Common sense was made before book sense.
Still confused?
So Akbar, he may be listening, I don't know, but we went to Libya. Gaddafi was out from under the sanctions. And I said to my brother, I reminded him of his promise. And sometimes when you remind people when they made a promise, but I didn't know another promise was made because Bush would not let him off the hook until he declared he will not give to aid the Nation of Islam. He was a helper to Elijah Muhammad. He was a helper to Louis Farrakhan. Elijah Muhammad borrowed $4 million and bought the mosque in Chicago and paid him back at $75,000 a month. I borrowed $5 million to go into personal care products for the nation. I put it in a black bank. I went to black companies. Come on, let's build these personal care products.
You forgot.
Spanish word negro, which means black in Spanish. You go to the dictionary and you see, oh yeah, negro, yeah, it means black in Spanish. We Negroes. But that's a half truth. The word negro in Spanish, right, it comes from the Spanish. Y'all got that? And it does mean black, but it only refers to something that is dead. So it means black, but it's only used to refer to inanimate objects. Black car, black shoes, black shirt,
Black nation. Black nation is dead, right? It's an inanimate object. There's no power that you can give to it because it's dead. Its only need is graves and funeral chants. Dead. Serves no other purpose for you. Now, why will you be part of a nation that's a dead nation? And we're not just saying this nation. We're talking about every other nation that was created by some man or whatever that claimed it's for our people, for them to be free and have your own this and that. You can't support a fiction. You can't support an illusion and be taken as credible to the world. Moors are the only ones that have the craziest testimonials of when people see them with their turban and fez on. Only Moors. For everybody else is normal. But a black guy to have a fez and turban on? Hold on a second. This guy knows something. This guy has to know something. There's no way. Because he doesn't look like a Hindu. He doesn't look like a pale Arab. He doesn't look like an African from over there. Yeah, turban on. Fezzes. Wearing silks and all this. What is this? Because we know that we're not Negro black colored. We know we're not an inanimate object. We're a sentient being. We're glowing in front of you as we converse. You're looking at us like, wow, you got an aura or something. Let them more with a fez walk in a room, see what happens. Let them more with a turban on, or a feather and a jewel walk in a room, see what happens. Let a nigga with a baseball hat walk in, see what happens. Look at how the energy shifts. We cannot be a black nation. Noble set us up properly. Made us want to be a nation again. And Moors are still on it. And still taking it to the hedges and the highways, trying to uplift our people so they can get down with their salvation. Because the Moors, we're going to do it anyways. Regardless whether you say you're a Moor or not after this, it's not stopping us from being Moors and exercising our birthright and living out our birthright. It's not some, if you follow, then we're going to be, no, we're happy already. We've been happy. We already know what's up. We're trying to put you on game. Right? Just like all these people, script writers and all that stuff, they're trying to put you on game because you're a dumbass. You don't know anything. We put you on game since you like movies. We put you on game. Right? Of course they're going to put you on game. But you're going to realize the game though. You're going to keep playing. Keep playing. because they told you themselves what black means. And it's the same stuff that Moors be telling you people. And then they're going to go on national address to the nation and talk about black nation. Isn't that a contradiction and hypocrisy? And this is not no thing of, hate somebody and hate them and whatever like that. No, we just know the history. We want to know what the hell's going on. We just want to know where are the people's minds at. Because it's appearing like, you love your daughters dressing like whores and all that stuff. You love that stuff. You love your sons being feminized. You're not doing anything about it. They're just wearing your pants off your ass now is a cool thing now. Right? Now it's a cool thing. Now it's fashion statement. Pants off your ass. Everybody knows that comes from jail. Getting raped in jail. Everybody knows that's what that comes from. Right? So you have these young men feminized, right? Because the 50-year-old guy with pants under his ass too. Right? Like this is how I'm gonna wear these. And I'm 50. Set them up for failure. And then when they're failing, complaining. When the program was given to you, stop using these. Now let's go again. Let's go to the children's lesson because the adults don't. Let's go to the children's lesson. So the children's lesson that Noble Drew Ali brought for you. Right, remember, this is the children's lesson. Right. Children's lesson. Who were Adam and Eve? They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Europeans. Where did they go? They went into Asia. What is the modern name given to the children? Asiatics. Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep unbelievers away? Angels. What is the modern name for these angels? Asiatics. What is their shade of skin? Olive. Are the Moorish Americans any relation to those angels? Yes, we all have the same father and mother. Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. Who were the mother and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Europeans? Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. What is the devil sometimes called? The lower self. How many selves are there? 2. Name them. Higher self and lower self. What people represent the higher self? The angels who protect the holy city of Mecca. What people represent the lower self? Those who were cast out of the holy city and those who accept their teachings. What is the higher self? The higher self is the mother of virtues and the harmonies of life and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Can the higher self pass away? No. Why? Because the higher self is Allah in man. What does the lower self breed? hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met Satan? Where are you going, Satan? What was the answer that the lower self gave the higher self? I am going to and fro the earth, seeking whom I may devour. So it's about the battle between your higher self and your lower self. And there's people who already took the lower self and they're gone running. Make sure you know what footsteps you're stepping in. Because Joel even said people are going to reach salvation and turn around and go the other way. But that didn't mean that they gave up their birthright. They have it in the back, hiding, while they're playing black games with you. That's deceit, isn't it? If they know better and then they're not telling you better, but then when they tell you better, you're not listening to that. You're going back and listening to the stuff over here that have nothing to do with anything. Then it's not on them anymore. It's on you. And how did you get to the level where you got played into thinking you don't have a nationality? You could just say whatever your nation is and that's what it is, and the world respects that. Your own.
After a while, the enemy went to Mr. Johnson of the great Johnson Products and told him that if you did anything for Farrakhan, we'll take all your products off the shelf. Do you know the enemy? Do you really know the enemy?
Do you? Do you really know the enemy? Isn't Johnson & Johnson the same people who's giving your people stuff right now? Making them lose their jobs and stuff like that because they don't want to take Johnson & Johnson and stuff. So put the finance in a black bank, but then, it's very obvious if your eyes are open. Relaxers. Relaxers? That's what they're repping? No black hair company or whatever. Johnson & Johnson, that's the guys that they're gonna build something with for the quote unquote for the nation. That'll be an interesting one. Under all those hijabs, what they got under those? They got the natural or they got relaxer going on? What do they got under those hijabs? You better have the natural.
Do you really think he's happy to see what you're doing today? Do you really think that he will not hesitate to destroy us when he sees his end in sight?
Is he going to see his end in sight if you're calling yourself black? You're calling yourself Negro. Is he seeing an end? Because we already told you that unity is based on estate. Jwali's the only one that told you that you're going to regain your lost estate. And then these people are telling you that your estate is a wilderness. Opposed to telling you claim it. But then if you do that, then it takes all the attention away from them and everything goes back to Drew Ali. And that's what no one wants. Drew Ali to be on all the burners. There ain't nothing else on the stove but what Drew Ali brought. Oven filled up with what Drew Ali brought. That's the grand feast. Everything that he brought. Nothing that anybody else has. Because if they're doing it under the labels, under the brands, then yeah, but it's just observation, you know what I mean? People send us videos all the time, and you know, you sit there, you watch the video, and you know, you're either gonna think about what just went down or you just discard it. You know? And in thinking after watching the video, it's 2021 and people still watching this stuff? These people still in circulation? Is the sleep that deep? Jolly really knew what he was talking about with a handful saved. If the sleep is like that. You know? Or is it all illusion? Like Cell, just running around the tower, giving it energy and all that stuff that steak tastes so good. This is vegan, plant-based. And you don't know that you're in a simulation yet? The body's the avatar. There's higher dimensions. There's places where some people don't want to go. And claiming more and all that is some places where people look over and say, I don't know about all that. I don't know what's going on there. We're just still over here in the black stuff. Just stay here in the black. Now realizing that you're the one with the identity crisis. So you don't know who you are. And what do they got? Their agents setting you up. State agents. State agents, as referred to in this article, are people who surreptitiously operate singularly or in organizations to undermine economic, social, and national progress amongst oppressed people, namely Moors in the Americas, branded with adjective tags. Traditional state agents are directly employed within organized public sub-agencies. And this is King Alfred Plan, and then they give you the 10 organizations, the minority organizations that are under 24-hour surveillance and that have agents in them and operatives in them to make sure that the Black Messiah doesn't rise. So once you're in that realm of the Black African, colored, whatever, that's under 24-hour surveillance. That's a PSYOP, and you're in it. However you look at it is how you look at it. We're letting you know you're in a simulation. They played you. Because you're supposed to be a free national in your own land. You're not supposed to be falling for the game that's presented to you by the same people who are telling you the devil went to the devil and said, don't do it with those people over there. Why were these people gonna go deal with the devil unless they're down with? You better wake up. You better wake up. And again, we're not talking about it's only going to be a handful saved. 144,000. That's a drop in the bucket. Right? That's all we need. That's why they say if you save one, you did a good job. If one could say, oh man, I'm so glad that I saw that more. Oh my gosh, if I didn't see that more, I don't know where I would have been right now. You got to do is save one. When it's time to get beamed up, be the ones who's in a beam. And it starts with nationality. It doesn't start with how much yoga positions you got and all that stuff. You better have nationality. You better be tied to a nation, tied to a state. You better be in unity with others in joint tenancy. You better be able to call 100 people on the phone and say Islam, and they say Islam back to you, and there ain't no question. No debate. Just because we're one in joint tenancy. We all know what Fez means. We all know what turban means. We all know Holy Quran. We all know Noble Drew Ali, Garvey. This is not, some guessing thing. Everything's already there. You got a forerunner. You got the prophet. You got a holy book. You got a flag. We got all this stuff. We have everything. And realizing that you have everything is only going to be experienced when you walk the path. Somebody can't walk this Moorish path for you, like all the black stuff that they've been giving you. And the African stuff. Right? If your crotch is hurting because you don't want to ride the fence anymore, you don't know how to get off, Moorish paradigm is going to get you off the fence and healed. Right? It's only for those who want to go, because, some people just like to fence ride. That's just what they do. And we're not concerned with them. Let them lay in their bed. It's the two of you. It's the two of you who realize it's time to wake up. Tired of this BS. You're ready to finish the war with the lower self. You're done with it. Right? This is the slayer. What you want to get rid of. If you're talking about devils and all that stuff, let's just put that out there. Metaphysical meaning of devil. Devil, the mass of thoughts that has been built up in race consciousness through many generations of earthly experiences and crystallize into what may be termed human personality or carnal mind, which opposes and rejects God. The devil is a state of consciousness adverse to the divine good. Other names for this state of consciousness are the adversary, carnal mind, the accuser, and the old man. So Drew Ali said, sit the old man in the back and carry out the law. Because the old man is the devil. It's not a negative. It's just, time for the back. You with your walker You're going all over the place right now. You go chill. New Moors are here. There is no personal devil. God is the one omnipresent principle of the universe, and there is no room for any principle of evil, personified or otherwise. How to overcome the devil? The devil is overcome by denying his existence and by affirming universal Christ's love for God and all men. The devils that we encounter are fear, anger, jealousy, and other similar negative traits, and they are in ourselves. Christ gives us the power to cast out these devils, thereby cleansing our consciousness. So it's consciousness cleansing that we're about. That's fighting the devil. That's the 40 days and 40 nights and all that. Metaphysical meaning of Satan. The deceiving phase of mind in man that has fixed ideas in opposition to truth. Adversary, leer in wait, accuser, opposer, hater, and enemy. Satan assumes various forms in man's consciousness, among which may be mentioned egotism, a puffing up of the personality, and the opposite of this, self-depreciation, which admits the accuser into the consciousness. This accuser makes man believe that he is inherently evil. Satan is the devil, a state of mind formed by man's personal ideas of his power and completeness and sufficiency apart from God. Besides at times puffing up the personality, this satanic thought often turns about, and after having tempted one to do evil, discourages the soul by accusing it of sin. Summed up, it is the state of mind in man that believes in its own sufficiency independent of its creative source. So declaring your nationality is a realignment, because we've been off the rails for generations playing the Negro black colored game, which leads us into the lower self of activity. Man's not going to be the man without nationality, without being connected, tied to an estate. The real battle is higher self, lower self, not you and the highwayman. Not you and whoever else that you're in disagreement with. All of it is within. And then once you focus on within, you're not going to be played by what's without. Because their job is to keep you in the lower self. That's ultimately what they want. They want you to be a contradictor. They want you to be a hypocrite. That you could look at your hand and see that you're brown and not question why you call yourself black. And then remember all the people in the world who are, looking at us as the founders of civilization. Now they got their pants off their ass and all that stuff, wearing skinny stuff and all that. Right? And then they're getting slapped up by their elders, though, because they're saying, you better get back to your culture or whatever. Stop playing like you're a nigger. So it's a pretty good game that they have run on our people. Real good game. And guess what? We deserved it. Because we strayed after the idol gods of Europe, of whom we knew nothing, and abandoned our own ancestors and our own prophets and our own seers and our own oracles. Now complaining. Don't complain. You made your bed. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all. You already know. We're almost out the tune. Almost out the tune. The sun shall rise again. And when it kicks off, it's on. Honors to all the Moors. It's been on already, so don't get it twisted. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all. Study, study, study. Study, study, study. Don't forget, January 8th. Oh yeah, forgot about this one. Forgot about this one. Forgot about this one. This was from some paper. Some paper article. Is this the... Hold on. No. At each name, for names, they were a native step forward. They were all bright-faced youngsters, 14 or 15 years of age, and in their garb, made up of a clean cloth, bound tightly around slim hips, and the falling to the knees, and a red fez with tassel intact, marked them as houseboys, trusted pickaninnies who alone had the right to enter the white man's quarters and were collectively his recognized mouthpieces in conveying orders. Bathtub, repeated the white man. A youngster quickly saluted and stepped out of line, grinning from ear to ear at being distinguished even for a moment above his fellows. With a jerk of his head toward Andrea, the white man began to talk rapidly. Bathtub's eyes rolled from his face to Andrea's and back again. They widened and narrowed, and each of the 3 times the white man said Kiboko with a peculiar emphasis, they neared to wince. It's just interesting. It's just interesting. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Oh, for Drew Ali Day, January 8th. January 8th, 11:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Going in with the Moors, as usual. As usual. Right. As usual. The PayPal, Canaanland Guide @gmail.com. CanaanlandGuide@gmail.com. CanaanlandGuide@gmail.com. There's no Cash App, only PayPal. 25 notes, get your spot. We'll take your email that you paid with your PayPal. That'll be added to the list. And on the day of January 8th, we're gonna send out the link. And it's gonna be GoToMeeting on the GoToMeeting platform. So we'll send out the link to that, and have a great time. It's gonna be crazy. And Mother Reese is gonna be doing the metaphysical breakdown of the Matrix this Friday night on the Stereo app. If you haven't been on the Stereo app, check the Stereo app. There's some interesting convos goes down on there. That'll be at 8 p.m. Friday on the Stereo. So the energy's out there. It's a ticking time bomb that went off already, and there's it's a Groundhog Day. It just keeps going off. They can't stop it. So stay on the path. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Europeans and otherwise who know what's up. Honors to you. Honors to all the mothers. Oh, you're late, A-list. We don't do black time over here. But you could check the rewind. You could check the rewind on the Canaanland Moors IG. Peace and love to all the Moors. Islam.